Hi, welcome back, and in this video we're having a retro rewind review and we're looking at WRC 4. So this is the Steam version, which I picked up a while ago in a sale for 99p. I think it's about £8 on Steam as it stands now. The reason why I wanted to look at this one is it was the last of the official WRC titles, the full WRC titles that Milestone Games did before they lost the license. And the last rally title, strictly speaking, that they did for 3 years. So this came out in 2013, and then in 2016 we got Sebastian Loeb Rally Evo, which, if you watch the channel, you will know I really consider it to be massively underrated despite some reasonable flaws with it, but a good solid handling model with it and some reasonable force feedback thrown in there for a title of its age. So 3 years prior to Seb Loeb Rally Evo coming out, which was 2016, 2013, WRC 4, the last of the Milestone WRC titles. So what do we get with it, and is it any good? Well, kicking off first of all with what we get in it, given that it is an official WRC title, it's got the full 2013 calendar in there, so you've got all of the locations and about 5-6 stages from each of the various countries and rallies are in there. Stage ranges in length from about 2 kilometres up to about 7 kilometres, so nothing like the huge epic stages we're used to now by any stretch of the imagination. And we then had the full roster of JWRC, WRC3, WRC2 and full WRC cars, and if you remember back to 2013, well, that's when VW's Polo R was king of the heap. So, content-wise, you get everything you expect. You've got a quick rally mode, you've got a custom rally mode where you can pick a stage or a country or set up your own championship, and then you've got a career mode where you start in the JWRC cars and work your way up across as many seasons as you need to. So it's got what you'd expect. I mean, visuals and audio-wise, for a title that's nearly 10 years old now, it actually performs reasonably well, and I would go so far as to argue, and I did double check on this, that it probably actually looks a bit better than Seb Loeb Rally Evo, which came out 3 years later, which is interesting. So yeah, it looks okay. Sounds are not great, but being perfectly honest, a yearly churned title from Milestone back then, I wouldn't really expect a great deal more, but no, visually it's okay, and the damage model in it's extremely good. You whack it on heavy and yeah, you can wreck your car across the length of a stage, so it looks good. And underneath it, you can still just about tell that this is the origins of the physics model that we ended up getting in Seb Loeb Rally Evo, that there's blatantly quite a bit going on with the physics under the skin. The issue is it's really hard to get to that, because certainly with a wheel setup, and I'm running my T300 setup on this, it's horrible, quite frankly. For a start, there is a dead zone on the steering that you can't get rid of, and the steering has just got this weird combination of slop and too much return to centre spring on it, and it's horrible. It's just wrongly damped, it's wrongly sprung, and it doesn't feel nice at all, and as a result, catching slides and correcting them just doesn't come naturally, and you can't be quick enough with the wheel on it, which is really bad. But also, there's a steering lag there that is quite unpleasant, and this is something that, before it was patched out in Seb Loeb Rally Evo, was a problem with that to start off with, and it's not been patched out in WRC 4, so you turn the wheel and there is a lag before anything happens, and combined with the non-removable dead zone, that's a real problem. It really does make it quite unpleasant. It then is further compounded by the fact that even if you set the dead zone to 0 for the brake and throttle, you still have a very noticeable dead zone in there. And I'm talking on my Thrustmaster load cell pedals, I can probably depress them about 10 to 15% of their full travel before it even starts to register in terms of throttle or brake input. And as a result, this makes it really unpleasant to drive with the wheel. I must confess, I didn't bother trying it with a controller. Feel free to pick it up and give it a go if you want. I'm more interested in how it drove with a wheel and pedal setup, and how it drove in comparison to Seb Loeb Rally Evo. And the answer is, you've got what seems like the germ of the Seb Loeb Rally Evo physics engine going on here that never made it, because it's just quite horrible in terms of the input, the lag, the dead zones you can't remove, just plain nasty, and it actually makes it far more difficult as a title than it really should be. And yeah, it doesn't bear up well as a result of that, so it's kind of unsurprising that they then parked rally stuff for 3 years before they came back with Seb Loeb Rally Evo, which, as I say, and I will pop some footage up on screen for you, I actually think looks worse than the WRC4, but drives a hell of a lot better. It really does. So would I recommend WRC4 as a title to pick up and play in 2022? The simple answer is no. It's a curio more than anything else. It's a snapshot in history of the last title Milestone did in the WRC franchise while they had the license, and the last title they did before Seb Loeb Rally Evo. And apart from that, it really isn't worth any attention, in all honesty. I played it, I don't regret playing it, but am I going to go back to it? Absolutely not, no. So that's a quick retro review of WRC4. If you found this interesting, please do hit the like button, and if you want to see more content like this, please do subscribe to the channel and hit the bell icon to be notified when new content gets uploaded. Thanks very much, take care.